Hello, welcome to another episode of E-Training Guys. Today we're going to be talking about SCCM 2002 upgrade and how to upgrade it and some of the things you need to be aware of. Some of the new features for this upgrade is going to be improvements in desktop analytics, real-time management, OS deployments, Power BI integration, software updates. They now have an Edge 77 dashboard. Some tools like OneTrace has been more improved, application management, and the CM pivot improvement. There's some other stuff. There's a whole list of things that I just wanted to highlight a few features that's going to be improved and added in this version of SCCM. And the requirements, in order to do the upgrade, you'll have to have at least SQL 2012, Service Pack 4 later. You can use Express version, but only for secondary site. So just keep that in mind. Windows 2000 R2, 2016 and 2019 for your site system roles, like your distribution points and your other role management points and stuff like that. You need to be at those versions or later. There's no support for 2008 and 2008 R2 unless you've extended the license, so you have the ESU installed. So that way those machines can still get updates, and it's still supported to a limited degree. I don't have the ESU, so I won't get support for that. So if you don't have that, you'll lose support for 2008, 2002. I'm not sure about Windows 7 because I couldn't find anything about Windows 7 about this version, if it's still supported or not. I don't think so. You'll need to be at least 80K 1903 or later. Now I'm at an older version. I'm in, I think it's 1803 I'm at. So I'm going to have to upgrade. I'll show you that in a second, the support matrix for the different versions of 80K with 2002. And then also console support. So if you want to install the console, you'll have to be at least Windows 8.1 to the Windows 2019 to install the console on your machine or whatever machine you want to install it on. Just make sure you're at the supported OS for that. So with that, let's get started. So let's see here. There's a lot to cover, so let's get with this. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to log into my SCCM console. Now, here's the console. So if you guys see a hotfix here that you did not install, it's okay. You don't have to install that hotfix in order to get to 2002. You can go straight to 2002. Now, the configuration manager version that you have to be at least minimum in order to do the in-place upgrade is 1806. Now, if you're at an earlier version of 1806, like 1511 or some of those other versions, you're going to have to upgrade to one of the newer or more current branch before you can do an in-place upgrade to 2002. So keep that in mind. So with that, check and see if there's any other prerequisites I need to mention. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and start with the 2002. So I like to do the prerequisite check first, just to make sure there's no issues with SQL. Now, I do run into issues with change tracking data. And if I do come across that, I'll show you on this video how to fix those. So I'm going to go ahead and run the prerequisite check. Now, this does take a little bit of time to run, and then if you succeed and everything, it'll say ready to install here. So with that, we'll pause. Now, if you want to monitor the progress of your prerequisite check, you come into the monitoring section, updates and services, and after a few minutes, you'll see it pop up in here. And then all you have to do is click on home and then show status, or right click show status, whichever you want to do. And you can see it's downloaded and it's starting the replication and it's going to start doing all this other stuff. So that's where it's at right now. There's also a log file that you can check. If you come in here and go to the, actually, you want to go to the root. I think it's this one. That's okay. And then, oops, I didn't mean to close that. And there's also an AUI log too as well. There's a couple log files that you can monitor and check. Or you can look in here. So there's a couple things you can look for to kind of monitor, see how things are going. And so we're just going to wait, see, let this finish. All right, as you can see, through the prerequisite check, you can see that there is a warning. And the warning is related to the the SCCM tracker, the SQL change tracker. And so you have to, it won't let you continue until you fix that, even though it's a warning. You have to fix it before you can continue. So if I expand this, it talks about change tracking. Now, ever since 1810, it started tracking this. So what you have to do is you have to connect to your SQL management point, your SQL management studio, and you want to connect using the admin your SCCM database, and then you can run this query and it will tell you how many days old. So it should be it should be 5 or less. So it's above 5. So what you need to do is then fix that by running this query. So I'm going to do another, let me put this in a text file because I want to run this again. Notepad. So we're taking this. That way I can run it again later. I have to retype the whole thing. And then we're going to execute this command. I'm going to use the config manager. And then, oh. So we're going to execute this. Now, this could take anywhere between a few minutes to a few hours to run, depending on the size of your database. And there's a monitoring. Now, if I go in here, it actually tells you where to go. Let me scroll down. It tells you the link to go to. So I'm going to go ahead and go to this link because there's a monitoring command as well. All right, so to monitor it, you want to select from the logs where procedure name is the SB Diagnostic Change Tracking. It'll tell you the log, the time, and it just kind of gives you kind of what's going on. But to kind of see if it's back to 5 or less, you have to run that first command, which is this one. And you put that in here. And see, and as soon as, see, now it says 5, so now we're good. So now that we're good there, we can go ahead and proceed. So we'll go ahead and close this out. Because that's all 5. That's what we need. I'm going to save this for future reference. SP tracking. I'm going to keep it on the desktop for future. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and go back to administration. And we're going to go ahead and rerun the prerequisite check. Now this time it'll pass. So now it's going to go through that process again. Once that's finished, we'll be able to then install the config manager 2002. Now after I've done that tracking, this time when I ran the prerequisite check, it now passed. So now we just go over to administration. And now we're going to install the update pack. Because we've already done it, so we're going to go ahead and ignore the prerequisite check warnings because we've already done it. So we're not going to enable any additional features right now. I can do those later. So just go ahead and hit next. Update without validating. If you want to do a pre-production release to kind of check your clients, you can do that. I'm going to skip that here. And then of course accept the terms. And so again, even though I told it to, it's still going to rerun the prerequisite check, and then it's going to go through the entire install. Now once this is done, we'll have to do some post-installation tasks like the ADK, which I mentioned earlier in the beginning of the video, and then we're going to have to update the boot images and stuff like that. So I'll show you how to do that once this is complete. Okay, so once it's gone through the installation, what you'll see in the console is you'll see that it's installed. And when you click on About, now we still have to upgrade the Configuration Manager console. So we're going to do that now. So it's going to go ahead and close. It's now going to upgrade the console. So you'll want to upgrade all of the consoles that you have installed in your environment. If you have a console installed on your PC or some other jump boxes or what have you, you'll want to go ahead and upgrade those consoles. Once those are updated, and also you'll want to upgrade all the secondary sites as well. Now during this process of the upgrade, it also upgrades all of your DPs and your management points to the new version, which happens during this process. So the only thing left now to do is the client upgrade, the boot image, and the ADK. I need to upgrade my reinstall my ADK because the version I have installed is not supported by this version of SCCM. But I'm going to show you that in a moment when this completes. Okay, so now the console has been upgraded, and as you can see, if I go home, About Config Manager, you'll see that its version is 2002, and the client version will be, go to Monitoring, Production Client Deployment, and you can see the version for this client will be 5.0089681021. So over time, the agent will be upgraded. So if you click on Sites and click on Agent Installation, oh, that's just the properties. I meant to go look at the other rule. So see, for me, for my environment, I went ahead and clicked on Allow Config Manager to install my domain controllers. But in a normal environment, you wouldn't have that. You say never select, and then you install those manually. I was actually looking for the other setting. Hierarchy settings here. There we go. Now in here, client upgrade. So upgrade all clients in the hierarchy using the production client. Now I have it within 2 days, but by default it's 14 days. So you can leave it at by default or however many days you want to get your clients updated to the new version and the on your client side. So I also have a video on how to troubleshoot agent-related deployment. So I'll link that video in the description for reference. So now on to the ADK. So with the ADK, okay, let me bring this over a little bit. Now for the ADK, my version that I have installed is the 1803. As you can see, 1803 does not support the 2002. So I'm going to need to either upgrade to 1903 or 2004. So it's up to, I'm probably going to go ahead and go 1903 just because I'm not ready to go 2004 yet. I mean, I could, you know, go to the latest. It just depends on your environment. And I'll link this in the description below so you can understand what version you're at and what's supported. And if you go up a little bit, you'll also see all the different versions of Windows 10 that's supported in terms of Windows 10 version, and you can see that 2002 supports pretty much all versions of Windows 10 here, and you know, the 1709, 1803. It's just that we need to upgrade the ADK. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I'm going to go ahead and download the 1903 version for ADK. I could just go ahead and go to the latest. So let's get started with that. But first I need to uninstall the current version I have. So let's go ahead and close out of this console, so I don't need that anymore. Let me go ahead and download the version first. Okay, so I've went ahead and downloaded the 2004 version, just because I was reading some of the what's new in the 1903 while it's still supported. And then you'll probably want to download the PE add-on for the ADK version 2004, so we're going to go ahead and do that. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and uninstall the current version that we have. Click on the program files. Go down to the, so there's the two, the Windows 10 and the Windows PE. So we're going to go ahead and uninstall this because you can see this version is not supported. Now I'm removing the Windows pre-installation environment, Windows PE. All right, so I've rebooted my system. So now I'm going to go ahead and reinstall the new version of the 80K. There we go. Next. That's okay. Accept. So we're going to do deployment tools, adapt, config designer, Windows deployment toolkit, Windows IP over USB. Yeah. Let's see. I guess you could probably select that, but these are the only things you really technically need are these things for imaging. You don't really need a performance toolkit, but I'm going to leave the default and just install. This will take a few minutes to install, and then I'll reinstall the Windows PE add-on. Okay, so the 80K is installed. So let's go ahead and add in the Windows PE. Okay, so now the 80K and the WinPE have both been installed. So now I'm going to go ahead and start the process of updating the boot image. Give it a second for it to, I did reboot afterwards. Even though it didn't say reboot, I just did it anyway just to be on the safe side. There we go. Alright, so now you want to go to software library. I know. And go to operating system, boot image. Now you want to do this for both 64-bit and 32-bit. So you want to go ahead and right click on it. Update distribution points. Now reload the boot image with the current PE version and Windows 80K, so we're going to select that. And as you can see here, it'll say this is a version of the client package ID, so we're going to go ahead and say next. Now this will take some time to replicate depending on your environment. Now this part will take some time, so we're going to let that complete. Okay, so the 64-bit is done. Now it's still got to replicate to the distribution point, so that part will take time. So let's do that again on the 32-bit. So we're going to update distribution point. We're going to reload boot image with the WinPE from the Windows 80K, which we have already installed. That's why I did that first before doing this. Next. And so we'll let that complete. Alright, so the 32-bit version is done. So what you want to do is monitoring. And you want to go to content status, distribution status, content status. And you'll see, now mine happened rather quickly because, I'm on the small environment and larger environment, and depending on how many distribution points you have, it could take some time to replicate, and depending on your bandwidth. So just that's where you monitor the status. So mine was pretty quick, so that's okay. And that's basically it, and you're pretty much done with the upgrade. The next thing is just to keep monitoring your SCCM agent deployments and remediating the issues you see there. And that's basically it. And again, I'll put a link in that video in the description for you to review in terms of how to troubleshoot agent-related issues. And that's basically it. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing. I've got a lot more content coming related to cloud management. I'm going to get ready and working on a video for that. And also the Mac management and stuff. So stay tuned for that. Again, thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye-bye.